Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be revealing what are the most profitable business niches for any business in 2025. I'm going to show you how to pick a niche, what are the best niches, and how you can basically ascertain what are those niches. So first of all, let's get into it. If you don't already have a niche and you're looking for a new one, this is a Google Doc, link in the description if you want to look at the whole thing, but it's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of niches in here of all different shapes and sizes. Look at it if you want, but if you're basically not sure where to start, this is basically a list of good and profitable niches. But if you're wondering, okay, but what is actually the best niche? How do I pick a good niche? Stay tuned because I'm going to show you that right now. So first of all, let's go through some requirements of what actually makes a great niche. If your target market is the US, I'd say you need at least 10,000 businesses off that niche in the US. Any less than that, and you're going to find fairly quickly that it's one, really tricky to get high quality leads, but also two, the market, generally speaking, might not be able to facilitate your growth. It's just going to save you a big headache later down the line if you've got lots and lots of businesses in your niche. If your target market isn't the US and you're not planning on targeting the US, you need at least 2,000 businesses in your target market. That is just the bare minimum. Any less than that, and it's just not going to be basically profitable to market to that basically type of business if you've not already got experience on how to market that to that niche. As I already touched on previously, the best niche is a niche that you already have knowledge in. So if, for instance, you used to work in a gym as a personal trainer, generally speaking, you probably have a rough idea of how that sort of a business model works. So that is an idea of a business owner. You already have some basically knowledge of how their business works. And you're basically going to be able to sort of ascertain, okay, what are their most painful problems? How do I go about solving their most painful problems? And it's just basically going to give you a big sort of leg up and a big advantage in that sense. But it's also important, and this is something that most people don't touch on, I'm not sure why, but it's also important that you pick a niche that you actually have some passion in. There's a very common saying in business, and that is discipline beats motivation or discipline beats passion every single day of the week. And that's 100% true. But do you know what beats discipline every single day of the week? It's having both discipline and passion. Because if you can actually combine those two, that is the secret to basically being able to walk all over your competition. Yes, it's going to be difficult and you are going to have some discipline, but if you're actually picking a niche that you have a genuine passion in, it's going to make basically solving that problem for that sort of person exponentially easier. Because, for example, I work with gyms, and the reason I work with gyms is because, generally speaking, I really like fitness and I really like people that are interested in fitness. And as such, having that sort of passion, even though it's not something super, super massive or super related to gym owners as such, it still helps me and gives me a leg up when it comes to actually working. So it's important that you actually pick something that you have passion over, as opposed to something that you think might be a really, really interesting or a really, really profitable niche. But by and large, the thing that will make by far the most difference when it comes to actually picking a niche is if you already have a niche, it's sticking with that niche, or if you're planning on picking a niche, it's making sure that you actually stick with it for at least 12 to 18 months, and I'm going to show you why now. So this is how business for most people works. They start off from the bottom and they make little money, little money, little money, little money, and that's because, you know, if you've got zero business skills, zero business acumen, you know, you don't know anything about the niche or the problem that you're solving, it's going to take time for you to experiment and to basically get your feet off the ground. But as you go along, you know, you make no money for a while, you might sign a client, but the results you get aren't that great, so you go back down, you'll get another client, slightly better results, blah, 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 blah. And you sort of just stagnate for like so long until eventually you figure out, okay, so this particular person, or rather group of people, has this particular problem, and this is exactly how I go about solving it. And those are the three things. Once you identify the type of person that you're servicing, the problem that they have, and the exact solution to said problem, those are the three variables in which you will make, once you understand rather, you'll make an insane amount of money. And you tend to see just people go like, boom, they just almost fly up this exponential curve and start to make lots and lots of money. But why actually is that? Well, quite simply, it's due to their understanding. Because again, when you start off a new business with a new niche, people you have absolutely no idea about, your understanding of those people is going to be zero, right? I mean, why would it be if you've got zero basically knowledge of that particular industry or that particular group of people? And you'll see that if you have zero knowledge of a niche, it's unrealistic for you to expect to make a crazy amount of money in a short amount of time, right? Because at the end of the day, what are the three variables we just talked about? It's knowing the group of people. As such, you know them so well that you understand their problem And then you basically just put enough time and research and basically test enough factors until you actually discover a solution for their problem, right? Now, the third part, the solution, is a bit different because how you go about solving that, it's just different from understanding the problem. But the first two steps, remember, it's understanding the group of people, i.e. the niche, and then understanding their most painful problem, i.e. problem you can make the most amount of money off solving, right? So it's understanding those two variables that take a lot of time and are really difficult. But you see that as just a insane amount of time goes across, you speak to lots of business owners in that niche, your understanding is slowly going to get higher and higher and higher until you just understand them like the back of your hand, right? And one thing you'll notice is that that curve looks strikingly similar to that curve. And that's because they're exactly the same. The more you understand a particular niche, the more money you'll be able to make from said niche. So that is why when I say, if you have already been in a niche for 12 months, stick with that niche. Now, that's not to say that you don't change anything. It might be that you're in a really profitable niche. You're just not targeting a really painful problem in that particular niche. It could be, for instance, you work with contractors, maybe landscapers, for instance, and you help them get more clients. But their biggest problem might not be getting more clients. It's finding enough highly qualified staff to basically expand their business, right? You can still be working with the right sort of people or the right niche, but you can be targeting the wrong problem that they have. So let's summarize quickly. If you already have a niche, stick with that niche. You might need to make some tweaks here and there as to what exactly the problem it is that you're solving, but stick with that niche because the better you understand them, the more money you make, I guarantee it. The second thing though is if you are a complete beginner and you need to pick a new niche, what niches should you pick? Keep in mind of those previous requirements we went over, the 1,000 or so businesses in the US, and importantly, pick, if you don't have any knowledge in something, for instance, if that point is just null and void, pick something you have a bit of a passion in. And if you're looking for just a bit of inspiration, check out the Google Doc with basically a bunch of profitable niches. Pick something that you think you have basically a bit of a passion in. Might be, personal trainers, you're really passionate about fitness, right? Once you find something that you think basically accommodates those needs and you have something that you're generally passionate in, pick that and do not change it for 18 months. That is the best advice I can possibly give anyone looking to pick a niche. So if you found this video helpful and you want to grow your own online business, check out the video on screen now. Highly recommend it. But if not, thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.